Hello everyone, RadLad here, and welcome back to yet another video. And that's right, it's finally time. It has been far too long since the last video on this topic. Today is the day in which I continue my journey through the many doors featured in the Metroid series. Today we shall do the Metroid Prime Trilogy and Hunters. And you may be wondering why we're not doing Federation Force. Well, there's a couple reasons for that. One is I don't have a 3DS capture card. The second is that this video is going to be long enough as it is. Anyways, one last note before we start is that I used some codes for all 4 games to get weapons early, just so I didn't actually have to play through all 4 games again, mainly because I actually want to finish this video in a somewhat timely manner. Metroid Prime was originally released on the Nintendo GameCube in 2002 and became an instant classic and is considered to be one of the greatest games ever made. But we all know the real reason it did so well. It brought the famous doors of the Metroid series into the 3rd dimension for the first time ever and allowed them to be in more detail than ever before, managing to capture their magnificence to an even more incredible degree. Not only that, but now you can appreciate the doors even more due to the game's first-person perspective, allowing you to easily examine every individual detail. But now, it's time to see the lineup of doors Metroid Prime has to offer. First up is the blue door, which returns from the 2D series, but now in glorious 3D! As you would expect, the door is incredibly more detailed than it could have ever possibly been in 2D. The door has a hexagonal shape and it's split into 6 equally sized sections that all open in a sort of circular pattern when shot by a beam. The look of the doors doesn't really change for any of them in the game. Instead, the blue energy around the door is a different color, which indicates what beam weapon Samus will need in order to open it. Blue doors can be opened with any weapon in the game, with one exception being missiles in the original GameCube release of the game. Missiles would bounce right off the door for some reason, and the game would tell Samus she can't open that door with that weapon. This was fixed in the Trilogy version of the game, in which missiles are now able to open the blue doors. One cool thing about this particular door is that the exact same design was brought back in the demo Metroid Prime Hunter's First Hunt, in which the Prime 1 blue doors returned, but now in a much more compressed state considering the demo was on the Nintendo DS. Oddly, they are now open automatically when Samus walks near them, nullifying the use to shoot them, which is admittedly pretty cool. The second door that appears in this game is the missile door, which looks identical to a normal blue door, with the only difference being the presence of a large door lock made up of a gray base with 3 red supports coming out from the middle that connects to the door itself. It can be destroyed with a shot of 1 missile and it will turn into a normal beam door after being destroyed. Missile doors in this game are few and far between and are most commonly found blocking access to save rooms. The next type of door in Metroid Prime is the purple door. The door looks identical to the blue door, except the blue energy field around the door is now purple, obviously. The purple doors can be opened with the wave beam upgrade, and unlike missile doors, after being opened with the wave beam once, they do not turn back in the blue doors, but will instead remain as purple doors forever. This is the same for every other door that requires a beam weapon to be opened in every game featured in this video, aside from Hunters at least. Of all the alternate doors from the blue ones in Metroid Prime, purple doors are by far the most common. They appear most often in the Phendrana drifts, but also appear relatively frequently in every other area in the game aside from the impact crater. White doors are very similar to the purple doors, but instead of needing the wave beam to open them, you'll need to have the ice beam instead. White doors once again have the same design as the blue doors, except for the white energy field replacing the blue. These doors are far less frequent than purple doors and mostly appear in various rooms of the Chozo ruins and the second half of the Tallon Overworld. The last major door in Metroid Prime is the red door. Unlike the red doors of the 2D games, this door cannot be opened with missiles and can only be opened up with the plasma beam. Red doors are very rare, and the vast majority of them are found in the lowest sublevel of the Phazon mines, with a few others sprinkled thinly across the game's other areas. But not so fast! It may seem like we're already done with Prime 1, but you see, there are many other, more infrequent doors that appear in this game every once in a while that we still must go over, starting with the locked door. Locked doors look identical to any other door in the game, except they have a small black and white lock in the center of the door, which has 6 silver and neon blue supports coming off of it. These locked doors cannot be opened with any of Samus's weaponry, and rather only be removed by completing a certain task within the room. Usually this task is beating a boss, killing all the enemies in the room, having to collect a mandatory upgrade in the room, or just by completing a puzzle within the room. One area of the game that has a ton of different doors is the Frigate Orpheon, the opening tutorial section of the game. It's actually kind of funny just how many unique doors appear in this area and then nowhere else in the entire game. Apparently the space pirates like doors as much as I do, which is respectable. The first of the Orpheon's doors is the force field door. Now some may argue that this doesn't classify as a door, and those people are fools! Anyways, this door is actually the first thing you must get past once you start playing the game. It is opened by shooting all of the red sensors located on the sides of the door. The first door has 4 and the second has 6. The second door also requires the activation panel to be scanned in order to activate the red sensors. This door was very much created to get players used to the lock-on mechanic and how to shoot the arm cannon effectively. The second of the Frigate's doors is the elevator door. This door has a mostly circular shape and is transparent. It's made up of 5 sections that all slide left and right individually when opened. These can only be opened via the use of an activation panel. This door has one of the coolest designs in all of Metroid, so it's a bit of a shame it only appears in one room in the entire game. And of course, it appears in the one area you can never return to. The third door of this area is the Morphball lock door. 2 of these massive doors appear right before the arena where the Parasite Queen is fought. The doors are mostly a dark gray color with dark orange highlights underneath, and the middle is a vibrant neon orange. The door can only be opened if Samus enters the Morphball hologram located in front of it and waits for a few seconds. The door first opens up in the middle, where the neon orange lights are, and then the bigger sections of the door will open shortly afterwards. The fourth and final door of the area is the giant rounded blue door. This door is far more massive than the typical blue door is, and it's also split into 10 different sections. The first layer of this door is a muted blue with a silver frame, and upon being shot, this first layer of the door opens to briefly reveal the second layer underneath. This second layer keeps the silver flame, but replaces the muted blue sections with a vibrant orange color. Both doors also open in a spiral pattern. These are the only one of the 4 frigate doors to be found on the planet Tallon 4 in the remains of the Orpheon, known as the Sunken Frigate. Another door to mention is the Powerless door. These doors are quite similar to the locked doors, however they are opened by simply reverting power back to them. One way this can be achieved is by scanning a nearby activation panel to return power to a door, such as the pressurization chamber located on the Frigate Orpheon. The more common type of powerless door are the ones in which Samus must utilize the thermal visor to hit several hidden conduits within the walls with the wave beam. After being powered back up, they will remain powered for the duration of the game. Alright, now we're really pulling at strings here. The next door is the Security Bioscan lock, which is a door that Samus herself cannot use at all. How sad. The doors are a rusty gray color with a top middle section that features neon blue light stripes. This door can only be opened by space pirates, and these doors essentially just fill the purpose of acting as spawn points for space pirates to come from. The final door from Metroid Prime is the Morphball door. This door also appears in all of the other games in this video. In the Prime Trilogy, they all exact the exact same, and Prime 2 literally reuses design from Prime 1. However, the Morphball doors are slightly different in Hunters, but we'll get to Hunters in a bit. Anyways, the Morphball doors are small doors that are in Morphball tunnels or that serve as an entrance to those tunnels. They also open automatically once the Morphball gets near them. Well, now you can probably guess why we're only talking about 4 games today. The Prime games, especially Prime 3, have a crapload of miscellaneous doors within them, that while they may appear very infrequently, or in some cases only once in the entire game, it's still important to show them some respect, as they're still doors at the end of the day. And don't worry, Prime 1, yeah, this is the shortest game on our list. This is the one that will take the least amount of time. So strap in, because we're only getting started. Metroid Prime 2 echoes as some of the coolest looking doors in the entire Metroid franchise, which is very fitting considering it's obviously the best game in the trilogy, and that's just a fact. Anyways, unlike the 2D games, the Prime series have very few doors that are shared between games, aside from the blue door, hence why this video is game by game instead of having each door have its own category. Speaking of the blue door, Echo's blue doors function the exact same as those of Prime 1, and even look quite similar as they keep the hexagonal shape. However, the actual design and opening animation for the door is completely different. For one, instead of the door being split into 6 different sections, it's split into 18 this time around. This door also now opens in a spiral pattern when shot, and when the door closes, a yellow ring swiftly closes around the center of the door to signify that the door is once again closed and must be opened again, which is a nice little touch. Another door returning from Prime 1 is the missile door. However, Echo's version has been changed significantly design-wise. They appear as a lock directly on top of the door like in Prime 1, however it's far larger and has one massive black center lock with 4 red supports coming out in the 4 cardinal directions. The door's blue energy field is also now turned red, likely as a callback to the missile doors from the 2D series, which were also always depicted as a red door, except in Metroid 2, but that was in the Game Boy. Whatever. Like in Prime 1, after the lock is destroyed by one missile, it reverts back into a normal blue door. Now we have a door that makes a return from the 2D series, in the form of the Super Missile Door. This door functions identically to the missile door, with the obvious exception that it must be opened with a super missile instead of a regular one. It also looks the exact same as the missile door, except the red energy field is now green, once again calling back to the door's coloration in the 2D games. One last door that makes its grand return from the 2D series is the Power Bomb door. And to nobody's surprise, it's essentially the exact same as the previous doors, with the 2 obvious exceptions being that it can only be destroyed with power bombs, and that it has a yellow energy field just like the 2D games. The first of the fully new doors for Echoes is the Multi-Lock door. This door basically works the exact same as the previous 3 and shares the same lock design, with the only difference being its purple coloration. However, this door can only be opened via the use of the Seeker missiles, by targeting the 5 sensors surrounding the door at the same time. If they are not all hit within a quick enough period of time, all the sensors will deactivate and the door will cease to open. Another new door for Echoes is the Dark Door, or the Purple Door as it's sometimes referred to as, which is not to be confused with the Purple Door in Prime 1. This door functions the exact same as the beam weapons did back in Prime 1, where even after being opened the first time, they still require the beam weapon to be opened again, as they will never revert back into blue doors. Dark doors are covered in dark energy that radiates across the door in hexagonal patterns. The energy can be disrupted temporarily, and therefore opened once hit with the dark beam. Another beam weapon door in Echoes is the Light Door, which is sometimes called the White Door as well. Again, not to be confused with Prime 1's version of the White Door. This door is literally the exact same as the Dark Door, except it's covered in a veil of light that shows up as a white energy field that is incredibly similar looking to that of the White Door in the previous game. This energy field can only be disrupted with a shot from the light beam. The last of the major doors in Echoes is the Striped Door. These doors have a distinct black and white striped pattern that repeats in hexagonal striped patterns. This door is covered in a combination of light and dark energy that can only be disrupted with the Annihilator beam, which just so happens to be a weapon created from dark and light energies. How convenient. This door also holds the prestigious honor of being my absolute favorite door in the entire series. It's just so freaking cool looking. Although it is a bit of a shame that not a whole lot of them appear in the game, since it's a very late game door. Before we move on to the miscellaneous doors, we must return back to the good old lock door. It functions identically to the one from Prime 1, but has a significantly different design. This time around, two gray dark blocks with red streaks and a silver center appear on opposite corners of the door. In the original GameCube release of the game, the door's energy field disappears, making it resemble a powerless door. Oddly enough, in the Trilogy version of the game, all lock doors are now given a white energy field that is identical to the light door energy field. For both versions, after the locks are removed, the door's original energy field is restored. Now into the fun stuff, the miscellaneous doors of Prime 2, starting with the translator doors. These doors are massive and consist of various circular rings of varying grays and browns connected with metal beams. Towards the middle lies a large circular ring that projects the translator hologram. There are 4 colors the holograms can be. The first is violet, then followed by amber, then by emerald, and finally ending off with cobalt. The way to open these doors is simply by scanning them. However, you can only open them if you have the correct colored translator that is needed to open them. After being opened with the right translator, the door will remain open until the end of time. Or more accurately, till the end of the game. The next door on our list is the telekinetic barrier. This isn't really a door since it's just a barrier that covers a pre-existing door, but who cares, it's close enough. This door only appears in the Great Temple and serves to prevent Samus from leaving the temple before talking to the Luminoth leader, Umos, for her next objective. This door appears as a yellow transparent force field that covers up the entirety of the door. It also has a symmetrical pattern that is made up of various irregular shapes that gives it a very distinct yet incredibly cool design. The Echo Gate is one of the trickiest doors to open. Not only does it require both the Echo Visor and Annihilator Beam to even have the opportunity to open it, you also have to solve a small puzzle to unlock it. With the Combat Visor, the door just seems to be a rounded dark gray door with a red border that can't be interacted with. But with the Echo Visor, Samus can see a lock symbol over the door. Upon shooting it with the Annihilator Beam, it'll send out 4 chimes, correlating to Echo Terminals that are nearby. Each Echo Terminal has a distinct chime that is a different pitch than the others. Samus must match the pitches of the door chimes with the ones from the terminals. However, if one chime is played out of order, Samus will have to restart from the beginning. Once it's opened once, it'll never have to be opened again. Metroid Prime 2 reintroduces the concept of door-blocking enemies in the form of various Ing enemy types that take advantage of the raw, awesome power of doors. The Ing Web Trap is a door-blocking enemy that essentially functions the exact same as a locked door, although this creature only appears once in the entire game in the battleground room of the Dark Agony Wastes. It has a web-like appearance and a black color scheme with one large red eye in the middle. It cannot be harmed with any of Samus's weaponry, and will only disappear once all of the enemies in the room are defeated. The Webling is another Ing creature that acts as a sort of door-blocking obstacle. Similar to the Ing Web Trap, it barely appears in the game, as there are only 2 Weblings in the entire game, and both are located in the Feeding Pit access in the Dark Agony Wastes. They are far larger than the web traps and have massive red eyes with thick black webbing lined in red spots glowing out from the eye. Unlike the web traps, they can be destroyed with the use of the light beam. Moving on from this organic stuff, we have another door that was built by the Space Pirates known as the Blast Door, which is located in the Command Center Room in Agony Wastes. This door is very large and consists of 8 locking mechanisms at the bottom of the design, with 4 modules almost resembling boosters on the top half, with 2 large silver circular plates taking up most of the top. There's also a massive divide between the left and right side with a trench right smack in the middle of the door. This door serves to prevent Samus from accessing the Metroid Research Center located in the base. The door is only opened via a specific scan terminal that's located on the upper floor of the command center room. One door that is quite bizarre and interesting is the Light Barrier. The Light Barrier appears as a white transparent door with an intricate design consisting of black circles with red centers splayed across the door in various sizes. It can be quickly destroyed with one shot of the Dark Beam. Which makes this door interesting though, is that it doesn't appear in the full release of the game. It's actually exclusive to the demo found on the Metroid Prime 2 Echoes bonus disc, included in select releases of the original Metroid Prime. There's another barrier that appears in the demo, but it's black instead of a transparent white and cannot be opened at all. Woo! Done with Prime 2. But trust me, we're still only getting started. Strap in, because Metroid Prime 3 has an absolutely monumental amount of doors to look at. This is definitely the part where you want to make your popcorn. Prime 3 holds the honor of having the most number of different doors in the entire series. However, this is partly due to the fact that since the game takes place across multiple planets, each planet has a unique design for most doors. However, in general, Corruption has a crap ton of miscellaneous doors as well, which only further bolsters its absurd amount of doors. But enough introductions to this game, let's jump into this. Starting with the blue door, there are a whopping 5 variants of this door in the game, each with drastically different designs. Starting off with the Galactic Federation design, this is actually the only main door variant that is found on multiple planets. This design is found on Norian, the GFS Olympus, the GFS Valhalla, and a few rooms in Brio in the GFS compound area of the planet. The door is rounded in shape and has a grayish color behind the blue energy shield, with 2 large handle mechanisms in the middle. It opens up by the top and bottom parts of the door, sliding apart from each other. The next variant of the blue door in this game is the Brionium Blue Door, which is easily the most unique design of any of the game's main doors. This door is large and is about twice as tall as every other variant of door. It depicts a large figure with a single eye holding the doors locked together, and the overall color scheme of it consists of various shades of muted brown. The most interesting part of the design is the main lock, which actually has the energy field itself. It's incredibly small given the otherwise massive scale of the door. Once the door is shot open, both sides of the door will attract to either side, creating an opening. Next up on our planetary tour of doors is Skytown on planet Elysia. The doors found here are nearly identical to the doors found in Tallon 4 in Metroid Prime. This is likely because they were made by the Chozo race as well. The doors on Elysia once again have a hexagonal shape and open in the exact same way as their Tallon 4 counterparts. However, their design is far more intricate and detailed. The borders of the door and the smaller hexagonal plates on the center of the door are noticeably raised above the main energy field of the door. The Elysian doors are probably my favorite of the game's main door designs, since they take the already great Prime 1 design and make them even cooler looking than they were before. Now it's time for the Space Pirates to show what they got. Their homeworld features doors that are rounded like the Galactic Federation's doors, although they are much more noticeably elliptical in their shape than those of the Federation's. It's split into 12 sections, and it opens up in a spiral shape similar to that of Aether's doors. Honestly though, compared to the other doors featured in this game, this is probably the most underwhelming design. Space Pirates kinda dropped the ball, not gonna lie. And finally, we have the Leviathan Blue Door, which as the name entails, exclusively appears in the Leviathan seed areas of the game. This door is actually an organic creature made up of Phazon. It consists of 4 sections combined together loosely in the middle. Once shot, the creature's sections will slink back out of the way into the edges of the door frame. These doors are incredibly cool looking, so it's a bit of a shame they appear so infrequently, as there's only 3 main Leviathan seeds in the game. Well, there we go. We finished 1 door type for Prime 3. See why I was so worried about going over this game? Cause yeah, I knew this would take forever. But whatever, no time for breaks, onto the orange door. Starting off with the Galactic Federation design, the GF Orange door has the exact same design as the blue door, except it can only be opened using either plasma or nova beams. It's essentially the exact same as the red plasma door seen in Metroid Prime 1, but now it's orange, because, why not? Brio's orange doors are identical to the blue ones, but with the orange in place of the blue. Brio doesn't have a whole lot of orange doors, mainly because you get the plasma beam upgrade after completing the bulk of the main story stuff on Brio, so there's not much places to use it. Elysia has the same design as the blue doors, it's just orange now. Elysia also has the highest number of orange doors in any area of the game, mainly because that's where the upgrade is initially found. If you're noticing a pattern here, you'll already know that the Pirate Homeworld's orange door is the same as the blue one, but now with a new color. Yeah, these next few doors are going to be a bit redundant, but there's only so much I can comment on. Corruption only has 2 alternate beam weapons that can be obtained in the game, as opposed to 3 like in the previous 2 games. However, these beams stack, meaning that the third beam type in the game, the Nova Beam, can also open orange doors, no problem. But thankfully, it also comes with a door of its own, the Green Door. These doors only have 2 variants, as they don't appear on Brio or Elysia, probably because the Nova Beam is a newer technology when the game takes place, and those 2 planets' intelligent lifeforms have died out years ago. The Galactic Federation Green Doors appear on the GFS Valhalla only, and are the same design as the blue doors, except they're green now, and can only be opened with the Nova Beam. The Space Pirates have also created their own variants of the Green Door, and say it with me now, same as the blue, but now it's green, and now you need the Nova Beam. Now we have an old favorite, the Missile Door, now with 2 variants to admire. Missile doors work the same way they've worked in the last 2 games. Simply shoot one missile and kablamo! It's a blue door once again. Missile doors are pretty infrequent in this game, even compared to the last 2 games, mainly because in Corruption, Samus permanently starts off with missiles, making red doors kind of superfluous in this game. The Galactic Federation's missile doors have a series of 5 large gray plates connected together by various darker gray rods holding it firmly against the door. The lock system also causes the door to go from its typical blue color into a deep red color, similar to the locks found in Aether. After the lock is broken with a missile, the red color will disappear and turn blue once again. Brio's missile locks are very intricate and way cooler than the lame ones the Federation uses. The lock is made up of a massive center lock over the energy field of the door, with 3 gray plates coming up from the center to hold the lock in place to the energy field. In addition, on the outer rim of the door are 4 transparent plates that appear to project red light to the screens and to the rest of the lock to create the red colored energy field. These locks are way more intricate than they have any right to be, but hey, who cares, they look freaking awesome. Corruption also gifts us with an all-new type of missile door, the Ice Missile Door. As the name implies, it can only be opened with the Ice Missile upgrade, and unlike the Missile Door, the variant appears in Elysia and Pirate Homeworld as well, giving us 2 more lock designs to check out. The Galactic Federation Ice Missile Door is the same as the normal missile one, with the only difference being that the lock projects a white color to the blue energy field now, and now requires the ice missile to be opened. This is the same story for the Brionian Ice Missile Doors, which now project a white color rather than the red seen before, and obviously are only vulnerable to ice missiles. But now, onto the new designs, starting off with Elysia. Elysia's door locks consist of 6 dark brown pointed plates, meeting in the center of the door with a black support coming out from the bottom of each, and ending in a rusted orange bolt plate connecting it to the door. In addition, a large majority of the door is covered in a transparent material to give extra support to the locks. Because of the way the locks are designed, the center of the lock greatly resembles a snowflake, which is definitely intentional considering it's an ice missile door. It's a nice touch. The Space Pirate's Ice Missile Door features a large transparent plate taking up most of the door. It resembles the actual door underneath it greatly. Basically, they made a smaller design of the door on top of the actual one. There's 2 rings made up of differently sized and colored transparent plates, the centermost row being a duller white and having very skinny yet long screens, whereas the outer ring has smaller but wider plates, which are of a much brighter white. Small connectors connect each of the 12 plates to the outside edge of the door. It's a very intricate and over-the-top design for a lock that can be pierced in a flash with ice missiles. Almost seems like a wasted effort. Now onto a door returning from Echoes, the multi-lock door. Corruption's design of this door is a significant departure from the one seen in its predecessor. Instead of a vibrant purple color with 5 bright red sensors outside and around the door, we have the Federation's design of one, where it's an all-gray lock that covers the entire door with a black Galactic Federation visor symbol in the middle with 5 dull yellow sensors directly above it. To open it, you will need the Seeker missiles and target all 5 of those yellow scanners simultaneously in order to successfully open the door. There's also technically an Elysian variant of the multi-lock door, but instead of being a lock mounted on top of a normal beam door, the multi-lock is the door itself and will simply lower itself when hit. The Elysian design is incredibly basic, as it consists of a black circle with 5 yellow sensors on it, and a yellow center that turns green once all of its sensors are activated. They definitely dropped the ball with the multi-lock doors in this game, a massive step down from Prime 2. Let's move away from these underwhelming doors into a door that's still kinda underwhelming. The mounted blast shield is a door that must be yanked off with the raw force from the grapple lasso upgrade. It's very satisfying to open this one since you literally just tear it clean off. Unfortunately, these doors only show up in Norian and nowhere else. Design-wise, they are very similar to the multi-lock doors, except with a brighter bluish-white color scheme with a dark red Galactic Federation visor symbol instead of the black one. Sometimes these doors will have small yellow locks connected to the doors via cords that can be quickly shot off with the power beam to once again allow you to yank those doors off. There we go, the main doors of Prime 3 are done. But now we have to get into the really long part of Prime 3, the miscellaneous doors, because holy hell does this game have a lot of them. And I don't care how small or insignificant they may be, because I don't care, we're doing them all. And what better way to start off than with our good old pal, the locked door, this time coming in 2 hull variants. First of which being the Galactic Federation locked door, which looks the exact same as normal door, but now it's entirely black with various yellow locks coating the outer rim of the door. The second of these locked doors is the Brionian variant, which is identical to the normal Brionian door, but has a circular lock over the energy field that's connected to the door via 4 small connector locks. Both variants function the same as the previous game's locked door, so no need to go over that again. Our next door is a door that doesn't even exist. Rather, it was supposed to be in the game, but some door-hating asshole decided that it would be a great idea to just scrap it. However, the door is still mentioned in the game's map legend, which is pretty bizarre. They are indicated as a purple icon, which means it's likely that grapple voltage doors were scrapped late in development. And somebody just forgot to remove the symbol from the map key. It's unfortunate that we couldn't be blessed with this door though. A door that does actually exist is the Phase Door. The Phase Door is made out of a bizarre looking dark gray creature that has multiple maws, making up its appearance. These maws are also surrounded by a red energy field. Despite this red field, however, these doors are quite literally the exact same as the blue doors, as they don't require any special weaponry to open them. The only reason I didn't include them in the blue door section is because they obviously aren't blue, and they're red instead of blue for some reason. When shot, the maws spread apart to create a path forward. Another organic door is the creatively named Missile Blocker. This weird looking thing only appears in the Brionian and Elysian Leviathan seeds. They are made up of a massive blue eyeball connected to the walls by various veins coming out from it. It can be killed with 3 charge beam shots, 5 ice missiles, or a single hyper missile. A different variant appears in the Elysian Sea, in which the blocker seems to have grown a bizarre star-shaped shield over its eye. This new shield can only be destroyed by targeting all 5 of its blue weak points. simultaneously with the Seeker Missile. If you thought the Missile Blocker was an awesome name, then get ready for the Eyeball Blocker. This guy only appears once in the entire game on planet Phase in the Metroid Cavern Room. The creature has one large eye that rests on top of its large white flesh, with pink veins coming out from its eyes. However, it's initially covered in a dark blue plating that is invulnerable to all of Samus's weaponry. This plating can be opened up by shooting its antenna that pops out briefly from one of the 5 small holes surrounding its door. After hitting the antennas, though, it'll expose its vulnerable white flesh, and a few shots from the Phazon beam will quickly destroy it for good. Now that we're done with those wacky organic doors, let's check out some of the Galactic Federation's other doors and see how they stack up. First up is the Cargo Bay door, found in both the GFS Olympus and the GFS Valhalla. These silver gray doors are massive and are split into 4 massive sections. They have a distinct X shape in the center with 2 large silver beams underneath resembling a plus symbol. They cannot be destroyed by anything in Samus's arsenal and can only be opened with a hand scanner that is located nearby. Once opened, the 4 sections will move apart in separate directions. One thing to note is that the Olympus's door can only be opened one way, while the Valhalla's can be opened both ways. Another Galactic Federation door is the Aora Unit access door, which is only seen on the GFS Olympus, guarding access to Aora Unit 242. Like the Cargo Bay door, it's another massive door, however its design is quite a lot different as the silver has a turquoise tint to it, while also being made up of 2 separate sections rather than 4. There's some neon lines going across the outside of the door and 2 smallish locks on the right side of the door holding it shut. This door can only be opened by high-ranking Galactic Federation soldiers via a retinal scanner. The bay doors are another Galactic Federation creation that are found in the Hangar Bay landing site located on Brio. The door itself isn't too terribly interesting design-wise, as it's literally just a dark gray square with some lighter gray lines around the border and in the middle. The door serves as an entrance for Samus's gunship docked. Initially, when getting to this room for the first time, the bay doors will automatically lock as a safety protocol when enemies start trying to attack Samus. Unfortunately, even after the enemies are dealt with, Samus must perform a manual override by utilizing a terminal on top of the room. Luckily though, after this is done, the bay doors will remain open for the entirety of the game. For the next door, we'll stay on Brio, but this time around, the original inhabitants of the planet are responsible for making this door. The door lock system is located in the gateway room and serves the purpose of blocking off the majority of the Brio cliffside. The door itself is large and is covered in thick metal plating that has begun to rust. On top of the middle portion of the door are 2 locks colored green and orange that both feature 2 metal silhouettes of Reptilicus heads, with their mouths locked in place. In order for Samus to unlock this door, she must activate 2 energy converter switches through Morph Ball tunnels. Once a switch is activated, which there's one for each lock, it'll cause fuel gel to flow into a lock on the ground that is identical to the locks on the door. Once this process is done, both pairs of Reptilicus mouths will unhinge from each other and permanently open the door. A whopping 6 doors are exclusive to Elysia. New is my favorite area in the game for a reason, and of all these doors are a very irregular and unique designs aside from one. Starting with the coolest looking of the 5 in my opinion is the mechanical hatch. The door itself is located under Aora Unit 217's main chamber and cannot be opened by Samus in any way, and whatever lies behind is a complete mystery. The door is actually 3 doors all in the series, and they lock the same way too. The door is split into 4 abstract plates with a semi-transparent material and 2 blue lights on each side. The door also has 4 connectors that have full rings carved into them, and the right and left connectors end in half an arch that come together to form one large center ring. As mentioned before, Samus cannot open the door herself. Rather, it is Gore who opens it to make a dramatic exit after insulting Samus about how she's gonna totally die to the Phazon corruption within her. It should also be noted that Gore opened a door by snapping his fingers, which tells me that's the canonical way to open it.
Just in time.
A door that Samus can actually interact with is the Boost Ball door, which provides access into a Your Unit 217's room. The door itself consists of a large brown-colored frame that surrounds a transparent section which serves as an area for Samus to generate electrical energy that charges the system of electrical conductors in between the frame and the hamster wheel where the morph ball goes. Eventually, the conductors will turn a vibrate yellow, indicating that the door is charged, and it will split into two sections that go inwards, unlocking the way to the Your Unit. Third up, we have the containment door, which is basically just a bunch of metal plates that form a dome when closed. Its purpose is to house the Steam Lord mini-boss in the Steambot's barracks room. It's opened automatically when Samus attempts to leave the room and gets blocked by two small, sliding black doors that aren't interesting enough to elaborate on, and releases the Steam Lord's pod so that it can murder Samus's face. Luckily though, Samus is able to destroy the Steam Lord with ease, and the containment door never comes back, probably because there's nothing to contain anymore. These next three Elysian doors can kind of all go into their own category, a category in which I'm calling the bomb part doors, since they all serve the purpose of blocking access to the bomb parts needed to construct a Theronian bomb, which is basically just a nuke that will destroy the shield that makes Alicia's Leviathan Seed inaccessible. The first of these is located in the turbine chamber, guarding the first component of the Theronian bomb. But who gives a crap about that? We're here for the doors. The turbine door blocks access to the turbine, obviously. The door is located on the floor and consists of 4 sections, each with a dull orange color, with some parts of it instead covered in a turquoise transparent material. Each of the 4 sections are connected to the floor via connectors coming out from the bottom of each section. These doors are opened by first removing the floor connectors with the use of spinner mechanisms that are powered by the boost ball. After this step is finished, a rotation terminal will activate nearby, and once used, it will open up the turbine door for good. The second of the bomb part doors is also the least interesting. The door is located on the ceiling of the concourse room and only opens once the 3 sets of seeker missile sensors located around the second bomb component are destroyed. Once these are destroyed, the concourse door's 2 sections will slide apart, allowing Samus's gunship to retrieve the second bomb part. The door itself is split into 2 sections that both have a gray bottom section, a black top section, and a rusty orange arch separating both sides. It's honestly a pretty lame design though, compared to the other doors we've seen thus far. The final of these 3 bomb part doors are called the retractable doors. You don't actually collect a part here, but this is where Samus drops off the completed bomb. The doors are located on top of the spire area in Skytown, and are made up of 2 steel arches that retract once Samus's gunship gets near it. This also causes the dome on top of the spire to unfold into 6 separate sliding doors. They each have a large neon green light on the sides of them. Once the bomb is delivered by the gunship, the doors retract, which shouldn't be surprising considering the name of the door. God! Finally we're done with Prime 3 and all of its doors. That took so damn long. Literally half the video is just going to be from this one game. Now, this would be the end of the video, and given the video's length already, it would probably be a good idea. But nope! We have one more game to look at, and it's a game I don't even like. Well, now it's time to look at the doors of the absolute worst Metroid game. Yeah... whatever, at least we don't have to talk about this one as long, since there's way fewer doors than any of the other Prime games. Let's first take a look at Hunter's Blue Doors, which... hey, wait a minute. That's not blue! What the fuck?! It's white now? You see, this is just one of the many reasons why this game is trash. They couldn't even get the color of the door right. Anyways, at least the shape is cool and unique, as while they're still technically a hexagon due to having 6 sides, they aren't all of the same lengths, and are instead at such a length in which the door has a triangular shape. The door has a goldish brown color scheme split into 3 sections, they each have a spiral circle towards the center tip of each segment, and it being a white door, it has a white energy field surrounding it. Once the door is shot, the 3 segments will split apart and rotate out of the folds of the door, whilst revealing a second set of segments that also opens up shortly after. Next, we have Hunter's version of the missile door. Now, the Prime games have steadily improved the look of these things, going from the dull Prime 1 design to the more vibrant and eye-catching ones of Echoes, and finally to the intricate and uniquely designed locks of Corruption. So naturally, Hunters drops the ball like it does for everything else, and literally just changes the white energy field of the white door to a brown one and calls it a day. Plus, there's only one of these brown doors in the entire game, located in the meditation room in Celestial Archives. After being hit by a single missile, it will revert back into a normal beam door. You wonder why they even bothered adding these doors in the first place. Before we talk about the beam doors of the game, let's go over the Data Shrine door. It only shows up in the 3 Data Shrine rooms of the Celestial Archives area and the high ground area of Luminoth. The door is significantly different from the normal doors found in the game, as it has an elliptical shape with a flat base. The sides of the door are a dark gray color, with the center being a teal color. In the center is a black diamond lock, connected by 2 beams to the sides of the door. When the door is shot, the center lock will rotate on its side and open up from the middle. Now it's time to go over the beam weapon doors, which this game has a whopping 6, all with their own corresponding door types. Although, given the game's relatively small map, there's only about 2 or 3 doors per weapon. Also, oddly enough, unlike beam doors in the previous games, when the beam doors and hunters are shot with their respective weapon, they'll revert back to white doors instead of remaining as the beam type that they were originally. As much as I hate this game, I will admit it is a good design choice and more favorable compared to how they're handled in the Trilogy. The first of these beam doors are the red blast shields, which can only be penetrated with the Imperialist weapon, which is basically like the Metroid version of a sniper that shoots out one really long red death beam. The door itself looks identical to a normal white door, but now with a red energy field. Next, we have the green blast shield, which can only be destroyed using the Battle Hammer weapon, which despite the name, isn't even close to being a hammer, and instead shoots out like green energy blobs for some reason. There actually isn't a normal variant of this door. Instead, the Data Shrine door has a special green variant, where the teal center is now a lime green, and the same color making up the trim. After that, we have the purple blast shield, which can only be taken out by the Judicator weapon, which shoots out these purple beams of ice that bounce off the walls. The doors have the same appearance as the white doors, but now with a purple energy field. Subsequently, we have the orange blast shield, which can only be taken out by the Magma weapon. And yes, if you couldn't guess already, I'm losing my mind, since all these doors are literally the exact same, with the only difference being the color of the energy field, which in the Magma's case is orange. Up next is the blue blast shield, which is what caused the stupid blue doors to be white in this game. Wait a second. There aren't even any shock coil doors in this game! Why the fuck did they change the blue doors then? This is where I would have talked about how only the shock coil can open them, but since there aren't any doors, what's even the point? Finally, we have the yellow blast shield, which can only be opened by the Volt Driver weapon, which has a yellow energy field instead of a white one. Who would have thought? What an amazingly revolutionary design. I bet the designers had to work overtime with this one. I bet it took so much thought to make this one. I bet they had to make a deal with Satan to get this one to work. I bet they had to do some human sacrifice shit to get a door this incredibly unique. Oh man, I need to calm down. It's just this game. It's so bad. I think it's starting to make me dislike doors. No, this can't be. I won't let this game ruin my greatest passion. I will prevail and finish talking about this stupid game so I can continue to not question my love for doors! Now, let's end this with the Prime Hunter's miscellaneous section, starting with the Morph Ball door. Now, I actually already went over this one in the Prime 1 section, but compared to the Trilogy, Hunter's Morph Ball doors act differently. Essentially, these Morph Ball doors are just smaller versions of the game's normal doors and have to be shot or bombed with the Morph Ball bombs in order to be opened instead of it opening automatically. They look a little different compared to the normal doors. They now have a black color scheme with blue neon lights, cutting up the 3 sections from each other. They also have an octagonal shape rather than the triangular shape of the normal doors in the game, which is admittedly pretty neat. Next up is the game's version of the locked door, being the sealed door. The sealed door fills the same purpose as the locked door, in which to lock behind Samus whenever she enters a room, and she must complete a condition from within the room to leave. These doors look identical to white doors, with the exception of the red spiral symbol on the center of the door, indicating that you can't open it. There's also a special variant found in the Sick Transit Room in Octera, which can be opened when Samus scans all 6 locks within the room. The door itself appears to be a bit more elongated height-wise than a typical white door, which is a little bit odd. The Stronghold door is effectively just a different variant of the white door, but basically just serves to be the entrance to one of the game's boss arenas. And honestly, the doors are better than the bosses you have to fight. But anyway, the doors are much larger than the normal doors and are in an octagonal shape, and the door splits into 9 sections, each being colored black with silver trims, all meeting at the center in a brownish circle. The energy field surrounding the door is a light green rather than white like a normal white door. When open, the sections open away from the center in a spiral pattern. Here it is, the final door of this game and of this video, the Vault Door. It exists within the Ice Hive room of Octera, and it appears as a large fixture on the wall, being mostly a black color with a yellow light in the center. There are also 2 large black wires connecting the door to its power modules. Both of these wires have 2 war wasp nests on them, and upon scanning 2 sensors to redirect the electrical current to the wires, the war wasp will attack and their nest must be destroyed to restore power to the activation terminal that will open the door. The door folds outward, creating a ramp for Samus to walk up in order for her to explore more of Octera. We made it. We actually made it. We've gone over all the doors of the Metroid Prime games if we ignore Federation Force. And man, that took forever. Like, I knew this would take a long time, but not this absurdly long, especially Prime 3. They went on fucking overdrive in that game in terms of the doors. But we're still not done our quest of doors just yet. We still have 4 more Metroid games to look at. Plus, we missed some in the 2D Doors video, and I'm bound to have missed something in this one. So join me when we take our 3rd and final trip into the world of Metroid Doors! Eventually.